Hi, composition students. I wanted to make a quick video and walk you through how the online process for this class will work. It's been my goal to make this as easy and clear and streamlined for you guys as possible. I know this is all a transition for us, and we're all adjusting in our own ways. Hope you're washing your hands out there and socially distancing. All right, so let's go into our class. What you'll want to do is just open up, scroll down to the bottom, and I'm going to arrange everything weekly by modules. So this first module is for March 23rd, which is a Monday, through the 29th, which is the following Sunday. And I've put here in parentheses, everything is due by March 29th before 11:59 p.m. All right, so you've got a week to get all these steps done. I've arranged it by steps. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and go into step one, which is the PowerPoint, and walk you through this. I've included a PDF of the PowerPoint also in case you're not able to open a PowerPoint on your computer. Why this won't open. There we go. All right, so our next major essay will be an ad analysis. You're going to analyze a piece of advertising. So you and I and everyone we know, we're all inundated with advertising. It's everywhere, right? It's in magazines, TV shows, streaming services, movies, internet, airplanes, billboards on streets and highways. It's even on gas pumps. When you pump your gas now and you watch that little screen, it's not there to entertain you. It's there to sell something. Just remember that. When we analyze, we decode something. We break it down. We look at the individual parts and determine meaning from those parts. So when you analyze, according to dictionary.com, you separate a material or abstract entity into constituent parts or elements and determine the elements or essential features thereof. So we've synthesized, right? So when you synthesize something, you add pieces together to create a new idea. When we analyze, we're kind of doing the opposite of that. We're breaking it down part by part by part to determine meaning. So we can't really analyze primary colors, right? Like yellow, red, or blue, because they can't break down any further than that. They're primary, they're first. That's rock bottom on the color wheel. But we can analyze orange. Orange is one part yellow and one part red. Purple is one part red and one part blue. And then green is one part yellow and one part blue. We can synthesize and say that yellow and red make orange, but you can't analyze the primary colors. You can only analyze secondary colors like orange, green, and purple. All right, this is just a silly, stupid meme I found online. I'm actually opposed to the word crazy. I think it's misused. But for all intents and purposes, we're going to use this really lame, admittedly lame meme to illustrate something. Let's analyze what makes this person look quote unquote crazy. All right, well, he's got crazy hair, right? Kind of wild. He hasn't brushed it in a while. He's just too mentally unfit to do that. He has kind of wild eyes, and he hasn't taken care of his teeth. Obviously, they're spaced and yellow and kind of jagged and icky looking. And then he's got a straight jacket on, right? So we can analyze what makes this person look quote unquote crazy, break it down by part: hair, wild eyes, bad teeth, and a straight jacket. So, in order to analyze a piece of advertising, you have to look at different elements as opposed to a physical appearance in that meme. So, what are these elements that we look at in advertising? Specifically, print advertising. So, anything you find in a magazine or on a billboard. Well, you want to look at the mood and the ambience of the piece. What is the overall tone or ambience or mood of this piece? Is it calming and relaxing? Is it does it look scary? Is it trying to get you to buy something out of fear or to vote for someone out of fear? Or is it trying to get you to book a plane to Jamaica by showing a couple on a beach drinking? Whatever. That would be the mood or the ambience of the piece. Also, design, use of white space. I'm not going to read all this to you. You can read it when you go through the PowerPoint yourself, which I encourage you to do. But these are all components of print advertising. All right, let's look at this ad from Dr. Pepper in the 1980s. It kind of has an 80s look to it, if you ask me. But how would you describe the mood or the ambience of this ad? You can pause the video if you want to and think about it. But what I come up with was that it's serene and comforting and a little surreal. We have Dr. Pepper cups like sprouting out of the ground in the middle of the desert. Creates a mirage, right? When you're in the desert, you're thirsty and your eyes are playing tricks on you. Well, here's some Dr. Pepper to solve your problems. All right. So how does this mood sell the product? That's how you would analyze the mood portion of this ad. All right. How would you describe the design of this ad? Design is another component of print advertising. Well, we can look here and see that it's not symmetrical. Right? It's not even on both sides. If you look at the left side of the ad and the right side of the ad, it's different things. It's not a mirror image if you folded it in half. There's also lots of dimension here, right? There's a foreground where you have the Dr. Pepper up close to us, and in the background with the plateaus, the mountains, Cap Rock, whatever that's called, and the Dr. Peppers in the background. There's a juxtaposition of cool and warm colors together. That's an intentional design choice. You've got the purple and the blue of the sky, and then the red, angry, heated looking clouds. So again, these are all intentional design choices designed to sell the product. Were they successful in making you thirsty for Dr. Pepper to the extent you go out and buy one? There's also sometimes white or negative space in an ad. This ad has no negative or white space. It's filled in every single part of the page with something drawn or colored. Here's an ad with a lot of white space. This white space at the top here. And even right here on either side of never, that's all considered white or negative space. And it plays a role too in getting you to buy the product, in this case a 1970s Volkswagen. All that negative or white space draws your eye to the car, right? And then the word never below it. And you're like, never? Why would a Volkswagen ad include the word never? So you read what's below it. Again, this isn't a vintage ad. Advertising doesn't really work in the same way as it used to, especially since the internet's come along. So I don't know how effective this ad would be today. People will probably see all that text and not pay any attention to it. That wasn't the case in the 70s. All right, so there's no white or negative space in this ad. So how does that lack of negative space help sell the product? Again, we're advertising. We're looking at each individual component of an ad according to typical principles that are assigned to print advertising. Are there any signs or symbols in the ad? Well, there's a Dr. Pepper logo, right? And a sign down here announcing best value. So how do these signs and symbols, if there are any, and there are in this one, how do they help sell the product? Lastly, are there any sociological, political, economic, or cultural attitudes expressed in this ad? And this is where it gets tricky. Oftentimes, advertising will have one of these facets. Sociological just means how society plays into it. Political, economic, and cultural attitudes are often expressed in advertising. In this case, I would say that there's an idea of rugged individualism, which is a not strictly American, but very American idea, right? This idea that you're on your own, and if you want to be successful in life, you can become whatever you want. Now, there may be flaws in that argument, and I think there are, but that is the general overriding philosophy or principle that a lot of Americans subscribe to. I think there is something there, but I think this ad really touches on that, right? It's capitalism in the desert. You know, this guy or the viewer in this particular ad, which is you, they're in the desert for a reason, or you're in the desert for a reason, and maybe you've run out of water in your canteen and you're really thirsty, and all of a sudden you're seeing Dr. Pepper ice cold, right? It's playing to that idea that, you know, you're alone, you can do this. Here's some Dr. Pepper to solve all your problems, right? You'll no longer be thirsty. The sugar will give you energy. Whatever you get out of that, I think that is the sociological, political, cultural attitude expressed in this ad. Other considerations when analyzing an ad: the relationship between images and words, any action that's taking place in the ad. Think of it as the ad's plot. Like with literature, there could be a theme there. Look for logos, ethos, pathos. Remember those rhetorical strategies. Logos is using logic to appeal to the viewer. Ethos would be credibility, and pathos is emotion. Even the typeface and the font that they use in any written words on the ad are significant and chosen for a reason. So these are just some other areas in which you can analyze a print ad. All right, so that is basically the lecture for this week. Also for this week, I want you to look at this ad image instructions. That's instructions for what you need to do for choosing an ad to analyze. Then there's a TV show clip I want you to watch and ask and answer a discussion question about. There's a chapter, it's not very long, on analyzing text that I want you to read. And then there's a 5-question quiz that you need to answer after reading that. All right, if you guys have any questions, I'm not sure how I'm going to set up office hours, but for now, just email me any questions you have. I'll get back to you within a day, and we'll take it from there. If you haven't turned in something, make sure you get that turned in, uploaded to Canvas. If you have Canvas questions, send those to me. I might refer you to Sharon, our Canvas expert. Otherwise, any other questions, let me know, and we'll get through this together. I've tried to make this as easy as possible, so we'll do it. All right, thanks to everyone for being troopers. Let's socially distance and keep our hands washed, and hopefully I will see you back on campus next semester. Take care.